Welcome back to Oklahoma City and beautiful Devon Park. They call it the softball capital of the world, and this is day 2 of the ASA Major Men's Fast Pitch Championship, a 15-team tournament that opened one night ago, and there were a couple of surprises. Our focus today is the Hill United Chiefs, who will take on the Pueblo Bandits in their second meeting of the season. They collided at the Jack Grafmeyer Memorial Tournament back on June the 8th in Kimberly, Wisconsin, with the Hill United Chiefs, the reigning and 6-time ISC Men's World Champions, coming out on top by a score of 11-4. My name is Peter Loubardias. Delighted to have you with us, no matter where you are looking on this very warm Friday morning in Oklahoma City. This, by the way, if you're unfamiliar, Devon Park is where the USA Softball Hall of Fame is located. It's also very well known for hosting the annual College Women's Softball World Series. And here's a look at how the Hill United Chiefs will set up today defensively. Around the diamond, it will be Tony Gonzalez at first. Lenny Villavazzo is at second. Shane Bolin, the veteran and the captain of the team, is at shortstop. And Blake Hunter, who had a marvelous World Cup for Canada, at third. Luciano Biondi behind home plate. Nick White, Brad Ezekiel, and Alan Pecker, who was a first-team ASA player at those championships held in Rockford, Michigan last year, will play in right field, and the starting pitcher is Justin Schofield for the Pueblo Bandits, who won their opening game of the tournament yesterday as they downed the Midland Explorers in a one-run game. There's a look at their lineup. And interestingly enough, in the only meeting of these two teams going back to June, the top 4 or 3 of the top 4 batters in the lineup all hit homers against the Hill United Chiefs. In fact, the Chiefs trailed that game by a score of 4-0 at one point before roaring back. So Pueblo and the Hill United Chiefs on this Friday in this 15-team tournament, which will come to a conclusion on Sunday afternoon. The Hill United Chiefs' last action came in Kitchener at the end of June, where they captured that international tournament in impressive fashion. They beat New Zealand in the championship game, that going back to June 29th. And then the World Cup in Prince Albert, which came to a conclusion last week with Venezuela capturing their first ever world title, put the schedule in a bit of a hiatus. But here we are, and Justin Schofield gets the ball. You get a look at his numbers. Justin did not pitch when these two teams collided on June the 8th in Kimberly, Wisconsin, a member of Team Canada at the recently completed World Cup. Only tossed a couple of innings, but he has had a strong season to this point as he's returned back to the Chiefs in the year 2025 after spending the last couple of years with the Bear Creek Express. So Schofield, the hard-throwing right-hander, gets the ball for Jeff Ellsworth, John Stewart, and John Hills, Hill United Chiefs in their opener. The Chiefs, the only team to not play on day number 1, they ended up with a bye in the now 14-team event. And Hill United will have Lenny Villavazzo return to the lineup, a first-team ASA All-Star last year. He suffered a hand injury, the second baseman, going back to a tournament in Mitchell on June the 14th. And we are set to begin this first game of the day. Glad to have you with us on Softball Premier TV. There is no place for softball like Softball Premier TV. And the leadoff batter from Chihuahua, Mexico, is Roberto Sierra. And the last time these two teams met, he homered not once, but twice for the Bandits. Those home runs came on that particular Sunday morning off Martin Gonzalez. And the game begins with a strike from Schofield. Change up that time from number 41, who is from Nova Scotia in Canada. Facing Sierra. And the rise ball that time misses up to Pueblo's second base player. Sierra hit .308. He was 4 for 13 with a couple of runs batted in at last year's ISC World Tournament, which will begin in Mankato, Minnesota next weekend on Saturday. And Schofield paints the outside corner to even the count at 2-2. The Chiefs hoping to win a 7th ISC World Crown when that tournament begins. And they are the reigning champs. Change up on the ground to Shane Boland. No trouble to retire Sierra for the game's first out. What a spectacular place to not only come to, but to call a game from. This is about as ideal a location broadcast-wise as you could have. And the batter is the right fielder, Pablo Figueroa, the 28-year-old from the Dominican Republic. He was 3 for 9 at the World Cup for his country in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. He hit a home run and drove in a run earlier this year against the Hill United Chiefs. And Schofield dealing a swing and a miss by Pablo that time. Did not participate in the 2024 ISC World Tournament. Played in 2023. And just off the tip of his bat, but foul. And difficult to tell from my vantage point, but attended the Women's College World Series in this park 2 years ago in 2023. And the setting, the 4 different diamonds, and the field looks like it is in spectacular shape for the most part. On the ground, Blake Hunter deals with a short hop and makes a good throw across the diamond for out number 2 to get Figueroa. And now 30-year-old Dominican national team member Nestor Nova, who made one of the best plays I have seen at shortstop, a diving catch against Hill United. One of the plays of the year in 2025 in the men's game when these two teams collided. Was 0 for 3 in the game offensively. 1 for 6 for the Dominican at the World Cup. The ASA Major Men's Fast Pitch National Championships. The Bear Creek Gremlins are the reigning champions. For Hill United, strong tournament last year in Michigan, but ended up in 3rd place. And they're certainly hoping to improve upon that this time around here in Oklahoma City. Schofield again looked like he took something off. and finds the outside corner of the plate. And he will be a very, very motivated pitcher after only pitching in a couple of innings for Canada. And the high rise with a little extra zip on it to strike out Nova. 3 up, 3 down for the Chiefs defensively. We will set their batting order when we return to Devon Park on day number 2 of the ASA National Championships in Oklahoma City. Hill United with a fine defensive inning to begin. Justin Schofield sharp. Here is the Pueblo Bandits. Newman. Demota in left. Roberto Sierra. Elias Valerio. The shortstop is Nestor Nova. It is Alex West at first, and the young star from Mexico, Alex Del Valle, is the young catcher. And I was really impressed with number 11 at the tournament that I watched him in earlier this year. And getting the ball on this particular morning for Pueblo is number 5, a second straight appearance for Melvin Batista. And Batista did throw 3 innings in the 11-4 loss to the Hill United Chiefs back on June the 8th. He gave up 5 runs in that game on 7 hits. Struck out 3 and walked 1. Batista, a very strong outing one night ago in the victory over the Midland Explorers. He's from Mocha in the Dominican Republic. 7 innings last night, gave up 4 runs in the 5-4 victory on 6 hits, struck out 10 in the game, and hoping for a similar type outing, and he'll require one against this very, very powerful hitting Hill United Chiefs team. Shane Boland, the 34-year-old from St. John's, Newfoundland, leads things off. The Chiefs, by the way, overall record in 2025, coming off that tournament win in Kitchener at the end of June, is 16-5. Shane's batting .333 on the year. He's 15 for 45 and looks at a Batista pitch, a rise up and out of the zone. Boland has doubled 3 times. He's homered once and driven in 7. He went 4 for 14 for Canada at the World Cup. And Batista throwing hard to open the day. I would think for the most part, especially early, this weather would absolutely suit a lot of pitchers. It is not difficult to get loose. That is for 100% sure. And the location is terrific. On the low rise, that time from Batista. And things very different now in so many ways from the first meeting of these two teams, which is really, certainly in the Chiefs' case, the opening weekend of the season. Boland gets into this one, and it is gone. Logan Newman in center field gave it his best shot, but Shane Boland, a great beginning for the Chiefs as he takes Batista out of the yard to straightaway center field. His second home run of 2025, and Boland gives the Chiefs an early 1-0 advantage. As the try by Newman, he just missed that ball jumping up at the center field fence. And Brad Ezekiel in his regular number 2 spot, and didn't love that strike call from our home plate umpire. Well, 38-year-old Bradley Ezekiel from Holyrood, Newfoundland, is just flat out on a tear again all season long. He's batting .431 with 9 home runs and a team leading 22 runs batted in, and was 7 for 14 for Canada at the World Cup. He homered there twice, had a massive game-tying home run against Venezuela in their second game of the round robin with 4 runs batted in. Ezekiel was 1 for 4 when these teams met on June the 8th. He is having another spectacular season at 38 years of age. Ezekiel has only failed to deliver a hit for the Chiefs in 3 of their 21 games. I think he's one of the best Canadian hitters of all time, and doesn't appear to be slowing down at 38. And Batista gets Ezekiel looking. Seemed to fool him with some off speed and found the outside corner for out number 1. As Shane Boland has gone deep to open the game for Hill United. Tony Gonzalez is a 35-year-old from Tijuana in Mexico, batting in the number 3 spot. Tony had a brilliant tournament in the Chiefs' last set of games. The tournament victory in Kitchener. He went 8 for 13 at that event. Had 3 multi-hit games, a hit in every single game of that tournament. And he's batting .320 on the season. He's 16 for 50. Facing Melvin Batista, who comes inside, and the ruling is that Gonzalez went around. So Batista looking to bounce back after giving up the home run to open the game by Shane Boland. Change up. And a good one from Batista, but missed outside that time. Tony had a tremendous ISC World Tournament last year in Surrey, British Columbia, where he hit .455. He was also a first-team All-World. This hard-hit ball eats up the shortstop, Nestor Nova. And now Gonzalez, after a bit of a stumble in left field by Yoel DeMota, ends up at second base. Would think that would have an opportunity to be called a hit, and then even potentially an error on the left fielder, allowing Gonzalez to move up 60 more feet. And it is indeed, by the official score, ruled a base hit. That was very hard hit. And now, in the number 4 spot, the designated player, Bruno Matroni, who was a first-team All-Star catcher at last year's ASA Championship in Rockford, Michigan. Bruno is 39 years of age. He'll turn 40 on the 16th of December from Paraná in Argentina. And Matroni swinging it as well as he ever has in 2025, batting .375, 3 doubles, 3 home runs, and 13 runs batted in, as Gonzalez finds himself at second base, and young catcher Davalle speaking with Batista. And you see this in almost every single scenario where there is a runner at second base. You want to make sure that your signs are completely clear between the 2 gentlemen in the battery, pitcher and catcher. And Batista wants a different softball. There's Matroni waiting for our home plate umpire to get set. And Hill United looking to add to their advantage on this Friday morning. And Batista not afraid to work in. And it's very, very essential against the best hitting teams in the world, as the Chiefs most certainly are. Batista again works in, but out of the zone. Two and two to Bruno. And actually, it was a full count pitch, so Matrone walks with just the one out in the bottom of the first. Shane Boland started the day for Hill United on the right front. He hit a solo homer just out of the reach of center fielder Logan Newman in straightaway center field. And the return of Lenny Villavazzo. And Batista comes up and in with a strike. Lenny's 26. He's from Mexico. 3 for 14 on the year. Has not played in a game since he was hurt at a tournament in Mitchell against the Northeast Drillers on June the 14th. And Batista wastes no time getting in front of Villavazzo, who's one of the youngest looking 26-year-olds you'll ever find. Out of his uniform, looks even younger for whatever reason, but true. Hit 289 for the Chiefs 1 year ago. And showed good patience and a quality eye as Batista was moving towards his own dugout, thinking maybe he'd had a strikeout. First and second, one out here in the bottom of the first. Off the glove of Nova for another base hit, and that'll load the bases as head coach Jeff Ellsworth gives Tony Gonzalez the stop sign at third. A great return for Lenny Villavazzo, and that has to give him a lot of confidence. And he hit that right on the right part of the barrel, too. Squared it up, and Nestor Nova off of his glove for another Chiefs base hit. And the bases are loaded as they threaten to potentially blow this game open early. And maybe no one better to have an opportunity to do it than 38-year-old Blake Hunter. Was 8 for 14 playing for Canada at the World Cup in Prince Albert. He homered twice and led the entire 8-team tournament in runs batted in with 11. No one cashed in more runs at the World Cup than Blake Hunter. In his first year with the Chiefs, coming over after spending last year with the then now Bear Creek Gremlins. On the ground, Nova could be two, and is. Perfectly executed 6-4-3 double play to end the threat, and that is huge for Pueblo as they limit the damage to just one. The Shane Boland solo homer to open the game has the Hill United Chiefs in front of the Pueblo Bandits 1-0 on day 2 of the ASA National Championships here at Devon Park. Hill United homer looked to have added more, but grounded into an inning-ending, bases-loaded double play. So lead the Pueblo Bandits by a count of 1-0. Hunter defensively ranging to his left and throws out the young star budding catcher in Alex Del Valle from Mexico. And there is one away, as Schofield looks strong for Hill United in the circle to open the game. Facing Elias Valerio. Valerio playing at third base. Another member of the Dominican national team. The Dominican finishing in 8th place in Prince Albert in a tournament that was just, in one word, wild. If anyone could ever look me in the eyes and tell me that they were able to predict what happened in Prince Albert, in one word, they would be lying. What an event that was on so many different levels. As Valerio 1-for-1 in the game last night against the Midland Explorers, a 5-4 Pueblo win, and he doubled in the contest. He was 2-for-15 at the World Cup, and he has the first hit of the day is a stumble for Nick White out and left, but the 21-year-old recovered in a hurry to get the ball back in. So Valerio has the first hit of the morning for the Pueblo Bandits. And it was scorched, just eluded shortstop Shane Boland, who gave it a good go at shortstop but couldn't quite get to it. The designated player is Wilton Villafana, also from the Dominican Republic. And Schofield way up that time. Young Luciano Biondi, the starting catcher today, probably rotate with Bruno Matroni, depending on the matchup. Wilton on the ground. Gonzalez for one. Boland the turn. Throws it away, but no harm, as it comes right back off the screen to Tony Gonzalez. So Gonzalez, no hesitation to get the lead runner. Well turned by Shane, but an errant throw. So Villafana finds himself at first on what will be a fielder's choice. And there are two away for center fielder Logan Newman, who almost robbed Shane Boland of a first-inning home run. He gave it everything he could, climbing the wall, and it just missed his glove. So the center fielder batting for the first time. He was 0 for 1, and this one plunked him. Didn't seem to get a whole lot, but did hit Newman. And for the first time, Pueblo has a runner in scoring position. And here's Phoenix, Arizona's Allen West. Did not participate in the game last night. 2 for 13 for Pueblo at last year's ISC World Tournament. And has a chance to tie the game, potentially with a base hit. Schofield, good movement on that pitch, but it missed high and away. So Schofield looking to bear down and get his team out of what I would call a bit of a mini jam as he comes up and in, and again outside the strike zone to Allen West. Both of his hits at last year's ISC World Tournament in Surrey, BC came in a game against the Waterdown Hammer. He's been around for a while. His best ISC World Tournament hitting-wise came back in the year 2019 when he was 6 for 15. So Hill United with a 1-0 advantage in their first game of the ASA major men's fast pitch national championships, and Schofield and Biondi chat. The ASA Men's National Championship this year in this glorious park that is Devon Park in Oklahoma City. And Schofield just missed again. So falls behind in the count, 3 balls and no strikes. And walks West on 4 straight pitches. Even West thought it might have been a strike, at least by his reaction. It was close. So after the Chiefs loaded the bases, it's Pueblo's turn for left fielder Yoel DeMota. On the ground, excellent work by Lenny Villavazzo, who ranged toward the bag and made a fine play. As Hill United out of a jam in the second as they continue to lead here at the ASA National Championships by a score of 1-0. You're watching on Softball Premier TV. The official title, the USA. There's been many differences over the years, but it is the USA Softball Men's Major Championship. That's how the boss wants it to be called, and I'm more than happy to deliver. The Hill United Chiefs have delivered a run and could have earned a few more. They grounded into a double play to end the inning in the first with the bases loaded. Alan Pecker, the batter, he was a first-team USA Softball National Championships first-team player 1 year ago in Rockford, Michigan. Had a mighty cut. Allen's batting .333 on the year, and there's a quality change of pace from Melvin Batista, who has certainly shown that to the Chiefs batters on a number of occasions early in the game. He gave up 3 hits in the first. And misses outside with what looked to be a low rise. Allen's 15 for 45 on the year for the Chiefs. 2 doubles, 2 triples, 2 home runs, and 10 runs batted in. He was 2 for 3 in the only other meeting of the year between these two teams and just avoids being hit himself. Allen played for Argentina at the World Cup, where he went 5 for 16 with a couple of home runs and 7 runs batted in. And his big game came against Canada. 2 for 3, 2 home runs, 5 runs batted in. And strike 3 called on a pitch that Alan Pecker looked like he had to dodge out of the way of. So Pecker not the least bit pleased. And Batista has his second strikeout of the morning. And here's 21-year-old Truro, Nova Scotia product, Nick White, who's batting .485 in his second straight year with the Chiefs. Did not play a whole lot in 2024. His playing time has gone up in 2025, and he has taken full advantage with a .485 batting average. And he's one of the fastest players on the planet to play this sport, as he tried to lay down a surprise bunt and missed it. White also part of Team Canada at the World Cup in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, where he delivered 3 hits on 9 official at-bats. As Batista in front of White. And the rise ball is just that, a ball. Nick White has 3 multi-hit games this year and 4 games in which he's driven in more than 1 run. He was 1 for 1 against the Bandits back on June the 8th. And has his first base hit of the USA Softball National Championship for major men. And Nick White delivers a 1-out single with authority as he lines this into center field and will be an absolute threat to run. But the young catcher, Devaye, has a strong throwing arm. And another speedster, Biondi, drops down a bunt, falling, but still making the play. Terrific work defensively over at first. Very well done to get Biondi on the bunt attempt to record the second out. Is White able to move into scoring position? And Batista, that is an area that he's tried to live in, inside and up, by and large, to both right-handed and left-handed hitters. Shane Boland, who homered off of him to open the game, pops it up high in the air. And Melvin Batista gives up the 1 hit, but able to work his way out. We've got a good one going. The Pueblo Bandits in the reigning ISC World Champion Hill United Chiefs. It's 1-0 after 2. Roberto Sierra, the leadoff batter for Pueblo. 1 for 3 in the win last night over the Midland Explorers. A 5-4 triumph for the Bandits. And they find themselves in a good battle with the Hill United Chiefs in the Chiefs' first game of this championship. Schofield, a little extra. Swung on and missed by Roberto Sierra, who hit a couple of home runs against the Chiefs back in early June in Kimberly, Wisconsin. And Schofield, with great location on the pitch to Sierra to get out in front. Shane Boland's solo home run is accounted for the offense, and 3 pitches and a great result for Schofield, who has his second strikeout of the day. And maybe looks as determined in this inning to begin as he has at any point in the game. Figueiredo from the Dominican Republic, Pueblo. Schofield misses well outside that time. Figueiredo grounded out to Blake Hunter over at third, his first time today. This is a tough play for Alan Pecker, even with his great speed. And Figueiredo has a one-out base hit. Second hit of the game for the Pueblo Bandits. 30-year-old Nestor Nova, who struck out to end the top of the first and has had a busy morning at shortstop. Been tested on a number of occasions, tries to drop down a bunt, but misses on the attempt. Nova had a ball eat him up off the bat of Tony Gonzalez. Another ball from the Chiefs, Lenny Villavazzo, that just went off the top of his glove, a liner. Again, a bunt attempt, and again, the result is not what he or the Bandits would be looking for, as they're trying to move a runner into scoring position and hopefully tie the game. Schofield and the Chiefs with different ideas. And Schofield tailing in that time. Great curve action. More of a screwball type action to this pitch. Moves late. In. And there's 2 away for the Bandits in the third. And Del Valle, the catcher, tried to hit that to Norman, Oklahoma. What a mighty cut the youngster had at that Schofield offering. And again, drives it well foul up into the upper deck on the left field side. This park, when full, holds, I understand, in the neighborhood of 12,500. And it is just a spectacular place for any major competition or any game. And for USA Softball, this is also where the Hall of Fame is located, right here in this facility. There's Biondi out to chat again with Schofield. Tony Gonzalez, who is probably, of all the Spanish-speaking players, and there are many of them on the Hill United Chiefs, would figure to be the best candidate as an interpreter. So you see him moving in from first to potentially close the gap between Biondi, who's from Argentina, and Schofield from Canada. And Davai from Mexico is the batter. Schofield misses up that time. Justin's 35 years of age. He has 61 strikeouts on the year. In 33 and 2/3 innings in 2025. As he looks to shut the door on the Bandits in the third. Looks to be some activity in the bullpen for Hill United, who have added a pitcher to their roster regularly, a member of the Toronto Batmen, but here again at this championship for a second straight year with the Hill United Chiefs, and Tyler Randerson. And Randerson is warming right now, and Schofield says, I'm not ready to go anywhere. Dealing upstairs with authority. Struck out 3 batters in the third, and the Chiefs will come to bat, leading by 1 in their opening game of this USA Softball Men's Major National Championship at Devon Park. Bradley Ezekiel, Tony Gonzalez, and Bruno Matroni, the scheduled hitters for the Hill United Chiefs, who have 4 hits. The 1 run off the bat of Shane Boland, who led off the game offensively with a solo homer to center field. The Chiefs later in that inning loaded the bases with 1 out, and Blake Hunter, as hot as anyone coming into this national championship, grounded into an inning-ending 6-4-3 double play. And Ezekiel looked at a strike 3 from Batista his first time today. On the ground, Inova comes up with the hands, and Ezekiel retired for a second time. One pitch, 1 out. So many Dominican players are excellent fielders. The majority of them with a baseball background as well. There's Gonzalez, who has a hit today, a hard liner into left field. Takes ball 1. You go back to the tournament in Kitchener at the end of June, won by the Hill United Chiefs. Tony is now 9 for his last 14. So on a tear, even though he's had to wait a couple of weeks since his last at-bat, which came on June the 29th, as Mexico was not part of the 8-team field at the World Cup in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, Canada. It wrapped up last weekend. And this is a different looking Melvin Batista than the one I watched back on June the 8th when these two teams met for the first time. Velocity looks a lot better. Movement is really good. And his location has been sharp for the most part. And that changeup is superb. Turn the wrist over. And Gonzalez out in front, and he's been a very difficult out as of late. Third strikeout of the morning for Melvin Batista. And designated player, Bruno Matroni, the batter. He walked his first time today. Matroni has homered 3 times this year and driven in 13 runs. And Matroni thought that was outside by his reaction. As a batter, all you're really looking for is consistency. And pitchers would say absolutely the same thing. So Batista working to all 4 quadrants of the plate. And that appeared to be the hard drop. Swung on and missed by Matroni. First team all-star catcher. Softball USA's National Men's Championship 1 year ago. Off the fist. And a great try by Alex Del Valle, and unable to scoop it right against the screen. He gave it a really good go, got out of the catcher's box quickly to give it a try. A little bit of a stumble may have prevented him from ending the inning. He couldn't quite balance himself in an attempt to make that play, and it would have been really difficult even if he had. Matroni with a good eye on that pitch that did not miss the mark by much. 2 out in the bottom of the third in Hill United's first game of this USA Softball Major Men's National Championship affair. The changeup is about a 45-footer. Pitching distance in the men's game, 46 feet. Home run fences look like around the diamond. They're in the 250, maybe a little deeper than that category. And Matroni with a great at-bat. Very patient, has a terrific eye. That's why he's been such a great player, both at the club level. Does not play internationally anymore. Stepped away from that a couple of years ago for Argentina, where he was the longtime starting catcher and the captain. So a 2-out walk, his second walk of the day to Bruno Matroni, and now second baseman Lenny Villavazzo, who delivered a base hit. His first at-bat since being injured on a slide into second. Hurt a wrist or his hand in a game in Mitchell, Ontario, June 14th. And Batista pours in a strike. Lots of great games to come your way today on day 2 here in Oklahoma City, including a terrific matchup between the Bear Creek Express and JDT First Energy. That'll be fun. And Batista on the outside corner against Villavazo. Ball and 2 strikes. Matroni, the base runner, at first. Special thank you to Pete Hill and the Chiefs as they continue to bring you all the games on Softball Premier TV. And Batista takes care of his own business on the ground ball off the bat of Villavazo. So the game moving along fairly quickly, and the Chiefs find themselves in a tussle. They continue to lead, but only by 1 after 3 here in Oklahoma City. Justin Schofield set to work his 4th inning. Has given up 2 hits to the Bandits so far in the game. Has 4 strikeouts, walked 1 batter. He's thrown 41 pitches so far this morning, 25 of them strikes as he deals with Elias Valerio. And Valerio, the third baseman for the Bandits, has one of those 2 hits. Came back in the 2nd inning. Popped up. Boland and Hunter are there, and Hunter takes charge of it for out number 1. So the pitchers, for the most part, having their way this morning. And that certainly was not the case in a lot of events this year, including the Men's World Cup. Very much dominated by batting. First baseman, Wilton Villafana, who was the designated player on the original lineup card. And Schofield can hear the grunt all the way up here. Say it every broadcast, so I'm not going to miss this one of the Hill United Chiefs. Such a pleasure to be in the chair calling their games this year. Justin throws every pitch like it might be his last. Gives you everything he's got and is looking to find his best work of the season. He'll be relied on, of course, Marco Diaz, the ace of the staff. But Schofield is a huge component if the Chiefs are going to win this USA Softball National Championship, and then really what is the creme de la creme of the men's game as far as club softball is concerned, and that's the ISC World Tournament. So strikeout number 5 for Schofield, as Logan Newman with a swing and a miss on pitch number 1. He was hit by Schofield earlier in the game. Logan is from Vancouver, BC. Played for the Steveston Canadians at last year's ISC World Tournament in Surrey, British Columbia. And inside and off the hands, certainly the fists as you would refer to it. And Schofield, when he works from in front, very difficult to deal with. The 0-2 pitch is up and out of the zone, but a good 0-2 pitch. Most coaches I've talked to over the years and watching this game for a lifetime are not fans of two-strike base hits with an 0-2 count. This a 1-2, and now 2 balls and 2 strikes to Newman. On a warm morning in Oklahoma City. Hill United checked over at third, but no swing. And the count all of a sudden is full to Logan Newman. No activity at this point for Hill. Change up and a gem. Arguably his best changeup of the game. And Justin Schofield has his 6th strikeout in 4 innings, which is pretty much on par for his season average. And the Chiefs hoping to add to this 1-0 lead in their first game of the USA Softball Men's Major National Championship at beautiful Devon Park. Melvin Batista and Justin Schofield locked in a pitcher's battle. First game of the competition. The USA Softball Men's Major National Championship. Batista has given up the 1 run, a solo home run. His first batter he faced today gave up a solo shot to Shane Bolin. But after that, has gotten stronger and stronger. His most important batter that he dealt with and well is at home plate. It's Blake Hunter. In that same first inning, Blake came up with the bases loaded and grounded into an inning-ending double play. And see if the 38-year-old from Nanaimo, British Columbia, can muster his first hit of this tournament. 8 of them at the World Cup, and batting .415 now on the year with the Chiefs. And Batista has received that pitch most of the day from the home plate umpire. And it's what's allowing him to be so effective, his ability to work in on the inner portion of the plate to both righties and lefties. And came in again. So much of pitching in this sport is about late movement and location and your ability to change speeds. And Batista giving the Bandits an excellent outing. But he has issued a walk to open the bottom of the fourth to Blake Hunter. It's the third walk of the game for Batista. And now it's Alan Pecker, who had one of the greatest days at the ISC on Championship Saturday you could ever deliver. He had 4 home runs in the 3 games that he'll head to play on Championship Saturday and sat in Surrey. 4 home runs, 9 runs batted in. 2 home runs in the title game against the then-now Bear Creek Gremlins in a 7-1 Hill United Chiefs victory. Allen struck out versus Batista, his only time today. Batista looked to take a little something off. And Pecker on a drag bunt type attempt, not really a sacrifice, offered and missed. Chiefs with just the 4 hits in the game. And have the leadoff man on in the 4th with nobody out. Pecker turned on that inside pitch in a hurry and almost hit himself with it. He got around so quickly. The first team USA Softball National Championship player in 2024. Would love to do it again in 2025. Those light blue batting gloves in the air. Newman in great position and will handle it for out number 1 as Hunter does tag. Really not a threat to go anywhere in that situation. And there's 1 away in the bottom of the 4th. Nick White, he has delivered one of the 4 base hits off Melvin Batista, who has thrown every pitch in the first 2 games for the Bandits, and it's not really hard to understand why. Very good against the Midland Explorers in the 5-4 win last night, and arguably even better against this terrific Hill United Chiefs lineup today. But lots of time left. Is Nick White asking about the location of that pitch that was a called strike. They're going to check. And the second base, technically the third base umpire, but working in behind second with a runner at first, says no. So a ball and a strike to Nick White, who's added to that .485 season-long batting average with a hit today, but swings and misses on that pitch. 1 out, 1 on in the bottom of the 4th. The only run, a Shane Boland solo home run in the bottom of the 1st. That's the difference in the game. And on the topic of Batista has made a living in the game working in to batters and has done it effectively. See if he works in again to Nick White in this spot. And White absolutely clobbered it, but foul. He turned on that in a heartbeat and ripped it foul down the first base line. As he was sitting on something in, and he absolutely hit it on a line. Unfortunately for he and the Chiefs, it was foul. So a 2-2 on its way to Nick White. Change up, but bounced it. And that's been a key pitch today as well for Melvin Batista. The Dominican pitcher, who shakes off a couple of signs, that time from Del Valle. Change again, and White punches it through. Nick White is 2 for 2 on the day. As the pride of Truro, Nova Scotia continues to deliver when called upon for the Chiefs in his second year. Kept his hands back on that changeup and delivered it into right field. And catcher Luciano Biondi, this has a chance to be fair, and it is. Blake Hunter's going to get the wave. The throw to second, not in time, and Nick White, who runs as well as anybody, scored all the way on the play. Nick White never stopped. So the throw comes to second, and look at White. He scampers home. Scamper's not the greatest adjective. He raced all the way from first on that ball as Luciano Biondi ends up with a 2-run base hit. And that is what speed can do for you. There are not many players that play the game that would have turned that into 2 runs, as Shane Boland grounds out to Valerio at third for out number 2. So impressive from Nick White. And it's 3-0 for the Chiefs. And now Brad Ezekiel, who does not go very many games without a hit. He's 0 for 2 on this day. Only 3 times in 21 games has the 38-year-old gone hitless. And don't be surprised if that changes on this at-bat. As he takes outside. If the Pueblo Bandits are to stay in the game, this feels like an awfully important moment in the contest as they now trail by 3. And Ezekiel shaking his head as Batista has had him a little off balance in the game. And that rarely ever happens. But the minute you think that, the next thing you know, a ball's out of the ballpark. Shows a good eye on that offering. Good battle here. Ezekiel and Melvin Batista, as the Chiefs have added 2 more in the bottom of the 4th. Batista steps off and looks to reset himself. I wonder if he goes change up here. Comes in, and Ezekiel stays alive, fouling it towards the Bandit dugout. Ezekiel, a team-leading 9 home runs, 22 runs batted in. Started the day with a .431 batting average. And, by the way, batting .444 this season for the Chiefs with runners in scoring position. And he has one at second right now. And Luciano Biondi, who's delivered with a key 2-run base hit here in the inning. The 2-2. Way in, and the count is full. And great hitters always seem to be able to zone in even more. This guy is clutch with a capital C. Can he deliver again? He won't. He looked at strike 3, and he's really upset. But give Batista credit. He struck out Ezekiel twice, and twice looking. But a big 2-run 4th inning, and the Chiefs add to their lead. They're in front by 3 on day number 2 of USA Softball's Men's Major National Championship in Oklahoma City. The Hill United Chiefs have provided 2 more runs for starting pitcher Justin Schofield, who has given up just the 2 hits, about to deal with Allen West. And West walked versus Schofield his first time up today. And if you're the Chiefs, here's a half inning where you'd really love to put up a 0, maybe even more so, to take away any thought of a comeback. And Schofield, Biondi looks back and shakes his head. One team seems a little bit more pleased with some of the calls today than the other. Schofield pours in a 2-ball, no strike, strike. The number 8 hitter in the Bandits lineup. Schofield does not want to walk the leadoff batter. And again, some activity, I believe. I'm a long way away from Tyler Randerson in the covered bullpen. And a high strike this time. It's one of the few occasions where a Bandit hitter is walked out of the batter's box unhappy. So count full to West. And Schofield with another high-end change of pace. His 7th strikeout of the day. And a good bounce back from being behind in the count, as he has struck out the last 3 consecutive Bandit batters that he has dealt with. And faces left fielder Yoel Dumato. Dumato, also from the Dominican Republic, played for them at the World Cup, where he went 3 for 14 with a double, a home run, and a run batted in. His home run came in a game against Argentina. 1 for 3 last night in the win over Midland, and grounded out earlier to Lenny Viavazzo at second. On the ground, Blake Hunter cuts it off and makes another quality play. Have yet to mention, but the Hill United Chiefs without Nick Shales for this weekend. Not exactly sure about his availability for the ISC World Tournament, but we'll keep you abreast if I find out any more information. So Shales, a big absence, and so is injured Quentin Bruce, who suffered a bad ankle injury playing for Canada at the Men's World Cup. And his season, unfortunately, has come to an end as a result of the injury. The pride of Grand Valley, Ontario, who was swinging it so well the last month and a half for not only the Chiefs but Team Canada. Very unfortunate, and that's a big loss for the Chiefs as well. And his season is over. And just one of the finest young people that you'll meet in the sport. He is here on crutches, supporting his group, but unavailable to the Chiefs, who have also, along with Tyler Randerson, added another member of the Toronto Batmen in Mason McKay for the tournament, and 19-year-old youngster from Mexico, Alejandro Gonzalez. Probably will see him only in a pinch running type role. Talking about Gonzalez, as this is lifted in foul territory, and despite a fine effort from Lenny Viavazzo, unable to get to it in foul ground. And there's lots of room in that part of foul ground. His dangerous second baseman, Roberto Sierra, continues his at-bat. Schofield, and there is a big rip that came right up to the booth, right off the window beside me that time, much to my surprise. Didn't know that it was going to find its way all the way up into our broadcast location, but it did. Protected by the window. And that's Sierra's best swing. I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, he homered twice against the Chiefs in the only other meeting of these two teams in Kimberly, Wisconsin on the 8th of June. Schofield wide with that pitch. 2-2 to Roberto Sierra, who's 0 for 2 on the day, including a strikeout in the third. The high rise is too much for Sierra to deal with, and Schofield's excellent outing continues for the Chiefs, who lead it 3-0 as we head to the bottom of the fifth on day 2 of the USA Softball Men's Major National Championship in Oklahoma City. 30 degrees Fahrenheit, or 30 degrees Celsius, 86 degrees Fahrenheit on this splendid day for softball in Oklahoma City, with the Hill United Chiefs in front of the Pueblo Bandits in their first game of the tournament. The Chiefs with a bye, so did not participate in action. It was great to listen to Jim Flanagan last night, and Jim will have a lot of the games, the majority of them, in fact, right here on Softball Premier TV. I've been listening to Jim for a long time. All the great work that he has done over the years in the game and with ballpark broadcasting. Does a tremendous job. And we'll have a chance to meet him at some point here before too long. I don't have to look far to find him. He's about 5 feet from me. And he'll bring you the rest of the day's action from the ballpark, including a dandy up next. JDT First Energy and the Bear Creek Express is Tony Gonzalez. A swing and a miss. The Chiefs with 2 big runs in the fourth. And hoping to add to their advantage, Gonzalez has 1 of their 6 hits in this game. And the rise ball is a dandy. Up and in. And a quality rip by Gonzalez. And again, the ball ends up right up here near the booth. You always know a batter has just missed it when he, by and large, fouls it straight back. And that's what Tony Gonzalez did on that occasion. Comes in on Gonzalez that time. And we have a new pitcher. This is Humberto Valdez, who takes over from the starter, Melvin Batista, to open the bottom of the 5th. 4 strong innings from Melvin. And Humberto, similar in stature. And he has started with good velocity. Gonzalez high in the air, routine, and handled out in right field by Figueroa. And there is 1 away here in the bottom of the 5th. Bruno Matroni has been on base twice in the game. He's walked 2 times. And faces Valdez for the first time this morning. And that was about a 35-footer. Slipped out of the hands of Valdez, who takes over in the inning from Melvin Batista. And the Chiefs concerned with looking to add to their advantage. That one gets away from the catcher Del Valle. The youngster from Mexico shakes his head. I don't know exactly what about, but maybe the fact that he wasn't able to catch the pitch. Fortunately for him, there's no one in scoring position. Matroni with a hitter's count, 2 balls and no strikes. And not unlike his predecessor today in Batista, working up and in to Matrone, but has missed 3 times. And will Bruno walk for a 3rd consecutive time? Don't know if he would have the green light here or not. Could. Even if he did, he wouldn't be interested. And for a 3rd consecutive time in the game, Bruno Matrone finds himself at first, but not for long, as the Chiefs get their first look at the youngster from Mexico, Alejandro Gonzalez. Sat at a table last night briefly with he and the Hill United coaching staff, and staff trying to learn about a player that I understand came recommended from fellow countryman Tony Gonzalez. Does not have a lot of international or high-end club experience to this point. That could change. So he comes in to run for Matrone. And the batter is Lenny Viavazzo, who's 1 for 2 on the day. Pitch on the inner half, pulled, and will drop just foul. So off the fist for Viavazzo. His first number of at-bats going back to an injury in Mitchell, Ontario on June the 14th. Jammed his hand on a head-first slide at second base. So great to have Lenny back in the Chiefs lineup this weekend, and especially with the unavailability of Nick Shales and an injury to Quentin Bruce. Great time to have him back in. The 26-year-old. And the youngster Gonzalez was on the move in the hit-and-run situation, but fouled back by Viavazzo. JDT First Energy and the Bear Creek Express, they're owned by the same owner. But in watching them a couple of times this year, I would suggest they're big rivals as much as anything, as Viavazzo hit on the left elbow. So Humberto Valdez was able to retire Tony Gonzalez, but a walk, and now he hits Viavazzo to deal with Blake Hunter. Hunter has walked and scored. He also grounded into a inning-ending bases-loaded double play back in the first when Hill was threatening to strike early and often. Shane Boland opened the game with a solo home run. And Humberto Valdez in a small jam as Hunter fouls this back. Blake's had an excellent first season with the Chiefs. Excellent overall. 8 for 14 at the recently completed World Cup. 2 home runs. Drove in more runs than anyone in the entire competition with 11. And he'd love to cash in here. Lifts it to left. And the play made by DeMota with relative ease for out number 2. And here's Alan Pecker from Paraná in Argentina. Struck out and flew out to center. Change up is down and in to the Hill United Chief right fielder, number 59. Always a tough out. And this one sails away. As a runner, you have to be really aware here. The ball seems to come back off the screen and the fencing in behind home plate in a hurry. I've seen that on a number of occasions, whether it was watching last night or calling the game today. But both Hill United Chief runners move up on that occasion, and now there's two in scoring position for Alan Pecker, who looks at a strike on the outside corner. Allen with two big hits in the first meeting of these two teams. A hit here might put the game away. And a 3-0 Chiefs lead. And looked very uncomfortable on that swing. Was not his usually balanced self. Almost spun around like a top on that swing. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2 out, 2 on in the bottom of the 5th. And a 3-0 Hill United advantage. And Valdez misses with a rise ball. Nick White in the on-deck circle. He's a perfect 2 for 2 in the game. Does Valdez have an answer? He needs one. Slowly hit. This will be tough. And Alan Pecker will drive in a run with a infield single to make it 4-0. And when you run as well as Allen does, anytime you put the ball in play, gives you an opportunity. And that one, off the bat, in a perfect fashion for him, not so much for Pueblo. And it is 4-0 for the Chiefs, as they take advantage of a walk and a hit batter to add to their advantage. Runners at the corners now, and see if head coach Jeff Ellsworth potentially puts on a play here. With Nick White at home plate. 2 for 2 in the contest. There goes Pecker. They'll throw down. Not in time. Good strong throw by catcher Alex Del Valle. He has a lot of tools, number 11, for the Pueblo Bandits. So White now with 2 runners in scoring position and a 4-0 advantage. The rise from Valdez misses up. Humberto started the game between these two teams back on June the 8th, gave up 6 runs on 8 hits in an inning and a third in Kimberly, Wisconsin. Pitch for Mexico back in 2020 at the U18 World Cup. And while the team was yelling yes, home plate umpire said no, 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 as he was hoping to get a call in the outside corner. And Nick White, who really in some ways made the play of the day on the base pass. In the 2-run fourth, Luciano Biondi, the batter, on a ball that was sent into right field. White scored all the way from first when the throw went to second base, and he never stopped. And that was a huge moment in the game as Nick's on for a third straight time. This time he has walked, and Valdez has certainly not been as efficient as the game's starting pitcher, Melvin Batista. But in a tournament like this, and Batista, without question, is Pueblo's number one pitcher, and already through 7 innings last night in their opening game win over the Midland Explorers, at a certain point as a coach, you're thinking about utilization. If Pueblo is going to make a long run here, it will have a lot to do with Melvin Batista, one would think. And he threw 4 very solid innings, pardon me. And there's Luciano Biondi, who has a couple of runs batted in. 1 for 2, the batter with the bases loaded. And looks at a strike. Humberto Valdez, if his team has any hope in this one, requires an out. And Biondi just got a piece. No balls and 2 strikes to the young Argentine catcher. And Humberto Valdez gets him swinging on the rise ball. The Chiefs do add another and have upped their advantage to 4-0 in their opening game of the USA Softball Men's Major National Championship here at Devon Park. The Hill United Chiefs add 1 more to their totals in the bottom of the 5th, and now a little more comfortable with a 4-0 advantage in their opening game here in Oklahoma City. If they are to hang on and win the game, they would take on the winner of our next game on Softball Premier, JDT First Energy, and the Bear Creek Express as they continue their already rivalry. I think that's fair to suggest. This is hit a ton and gone. A no-doubter off the bat of Pablo Figueiredo, the 28-year-old. And it left the yard in a hurry. His second home run of the season off of the Hill United Chiefs. The first came in the opening meeting back on June the 8th off of Martin Gonzalez. But this time, he delivers the blow off Justin Schofield. Just the third hit that Schofield has given up. And Schofield has given the Chiefs so many good outings, great innings, and it almost seems all year long like every time he gives up a hit with good contact, it's a home run, and this one has a chance. It is deep, and it is gone. And we've got ourselves a game. Nestor Nova, back-to-back for Figueiredo and Nova, and 4-0 turns into 4-2. So just as I was mentioning, it has been the long ball when he's been hurt this year that has hampered Justin Schofield, whose day comes to an end. And Marco Diaz, the Hill United Chiefs ace pitcher, the youngster who helped pitch the United States to a bronze medal at the World Cup, goes down, and I would bet we're likely to see Tyler Randerson. We'll take a break, sort that all out for you. Pat, the Pueblo Bandits have hit 2 home runs, and they're back in the game. They trail it 4-2 here at Devon Park. Tyler Randerson, who's a regular member of the Toronto Batmen, added an expanded roster at the USA Softball National Championship in the men's major category. And he also threw at last year's USA Softball National Championships for the Chiefs in Michigan. Comes on in relief of Justin Schofield, who was rolling along very nicely until he gave up back-to-back solo home runs to Pablo Figueiredo and Nestor Nova to begin the 6th inning. So Randerson, who hails from New Hamburg, Ontario, pitched for Canada at a 2024 World Cup qualifier and will represent Canada at the upcoming World Games in China in August. Gets the ball for the first time for the Hill United Chiefs. And had a chance to chat with both he and Mason McKay. Also called up for this event. They both said a lot of fun to be here. Players treated so well by a great organization, but is a little different to play for them rather than to face them, which the Batmen have done 3 times this season. And Randerson, pitch, well swung on by the catcher, Del Valle. So Randerson in an interesting spot as the Bandits not going away quietly. In fact, they're right back in the game. Up the middle will test Viavazo, and it's underneath the glove. So 3 consecutive hits, the last off the bat of Alex Del Valle, his first hit of the day. And still no one out for the Bandits here in the 6th. And if you're the Hill United Chiefs, as we have a pinch runner coming into the game, you do not want to find yourself on the bottom side of the bracket any earlier than is required. The Chiefs have no want to ever be on the bottom side of the bracket if possible. But a lot of great teams here have gathered. And Randerson comes in and gives up the hit. Caleb Roberts, the base runner, at first. And Elias Valerio, the batter, and had a mighty cut and a miss on the Randerson pitch. Tyler has good velocity and has had some great stretches in games this year against quality opponents. You see some of the velocity on the high rise that was swung on and missed by Valerio. So has pitched against Hill United this year on a couple of occasions. Now he's throwing for them. Really hops off to one side. He grabs the rosin and goes back to work with 2 in, 1 on, and nobody out here for Pueblo in the 6th as they're trying to pull off an upset. Change up, pulled down the line, carrying well, and a foul ball is the call. As Alan Pecker went right back to the fence. Stayed with it. And that is just foul. I do not believe that they have video review here at the USA Softball Men's Major National Championship, but if there was, somebody might have taken a peek. So a long strike off the bat of Elias Valerio. Drills this. This is going to find the gap. Roberts is going to get the wave, and Pueblo right back in it for sure now. Elias Valerio. A double to the gap in left center. Off of Randerson, and 4-0 has turned in to 4-3. And Jeff Ellsworth, knowing the importance of the game, Wasn't the plan, but sometimes plans change, and Marco Diaz is going to come in still with nobody out here in the top of the sixth. The third pitcher of the day for the Hill United Chiefs, who have watched a 4-0 advantage turn into 4-3, 2 solo homers, a single, and an RBI double off the bat of Elias Valerio. Pueblo has had more hits in the inning than they did in the first 5 combined. And the 23-year-old born in Mexico calls Ensenada, California home. 6-2 so far in the year for the Chiefs. Thrown 53 1/3 innings. Given up 22 runs. He's struck out 90 batters. And we're going to have a change behind home plate as well. Bruno Matrone is going to come in to catch Marco Diaz, who certainly, as does every member of the staff, and that's to take nothing away from Luciano Biondi, who's going to be a great catcher moving forward, but he's a youngster, and Matrone, the 39-year-old veteran. So Diaz comes in a tough spot. Helped pitch the United States to a bronze medal at the World Cup. And fires a first pitch strike. And not in the location, I don't believe, that Bruno Matrone was asking for. Marco throws as hard as anyone on the planet. Can touch the gun at 87. Generally in that 83, 84 neighborhood. Facing first baseman Wilton Villafama, who's behind on the swing. So Schofield was rolling along beautifully, but gave up the back-to-back home runs. Tyler Randerson came in and gave up a single and a double that scored the third run. And now it's Diaz, as it's gotten a lot more entertaining all of a sudden, and this gets away from Matrone, and the tying run is 60 feet from home plate. What a change in this one. Slashed foul off the bat of Villafana. Marco was 3-2 in 30 1/3 innings at the World Cup for the United States. Struck out 35, walked 7. He could use a strikeout here. And again, Villafana keeps his at-bat alive. Infield drawn way in. The Chiefs were cruising. No longer. And give the Bandits a lot of credit for battling back here in the sixth. And there was strike 3. So Diaz with a really important strikeout for the Chiefs, his 91st of the season. And he'd love another here as he deals with center fielder Logan Newman. And Diaz looks to have high velocity in his first half inning of work. He did go around. Bruno Matroni had to ask, and our third base umpire said yes. So Diaz dealing. On the ground, Blake Hunter, fair. And Valerio not going anywhere at third. That's a quality play by Blake Hunter as that ball short hopped him. Had to take a quick glance to freeze the runner, which he did, and make the off-balance throw to Tony Gonzalez over at first. And now there are two out for Allen West. Tying run at third. Marco Diaz, one of the best in the world, trying to get his group out of a big jam. As West had a mighty cut but missed. This game coming up on the 2-hour mark. Still lots to be decided. Marco Diaz. A little extra giddy up as he comes out of the pen and gets 3 critical outs for the Hill United Chiefs, whose lead now is only 1 here in Oklahoma City. Well, the Chiefs in a different position, but they were able to retain the lead as Marco Diaz came in throwing hard and retired the 3 batters that he faced after the combination of Justin Schofield and Tyler Anderson gave up 3 runs. And the difference is only 1 as we play in the bottom of the 6th. Shane Boland, the batter, facing Humberto Valdez, who replaced Melvin Batista after the 4th inning. Boland has a home run today. That occurred back in the bottom of the 1st as Valdez, with a changeup, that looked like it was just high. On a warm, muggy day in Oklahoma City. And the Chiefs, would like to add a little insurance here if they could, and Boland will help that cause as he lines one into left. And the 34-year-old from St. John's, Newfoundland, has his second hit of the day. And the Chiefs with a leadoff man aboard to begin the bottom of the sixth. I mention this all the time over the years, and it's not like I've watched him day in and day out like I've had the opportunity by and large to do this season, but I think in only two of probably in the neighborhood of 40 plus, and won't get a chance to finish the story, is Ezekiel 0 for 4, grounds into a 1-6-3 double play. And if Bradley doesn't come back up to bat, I think this might be only the third game I've ever watched him play in person in my lifetime where he doesn't have a hit in the game. So it's been a tough morning for the great hitting Bradley Ezekiel to begin this USA Softball Men's Major National Championship. He's 0 for 4. And that just almost never happens. Coming into today, he'd only gone hitless in 3 of the Chiefs' 21 games. Gonzalez hit it well, but right at Valerio. The Pueblo Bandits trying to pull a big upset, and they'll come to the 7th batting, trailing by just 1 here in Oklahoma City. So Marco Diaz, who came on in a difficult situation to put out the fire in a 3-run Pueblo Bandit top of the 6th, now trying to close it in the 7th. It was 4-0 in favor of Hill United before a Figueiredo home run, a Nestor Nova solo shot, and then a RBI double off the bat of Elias Valerio. And all of a sudden, 1 run. Valerio was at third base with only 1 out. In fact, there was no 1 out because a wild pitch moved him there. But Diaz took care of business with 2 strikeouts and a ground out as he faces left fielder Yoel DeMota. He's 0 for 2 in the game. Back to Diaz, nonchalant but effective. In this event, you do not want to end up on the bottom part of the bracket any sooner than is required. Thus the reason for Jeff Ellsworth to not take any chances and go to Diaz in that inning. It was not the plan, I can tell you that. But plans change. And Diaz working to a dangerous hitter in Roberto Sierra, who is 0 for 3 on the day, struck out twice against Justin Schofield. And you can add to the velocity by a few. And Diaz, to me, even from this location, looks like he's throwing as hard as any time I've ever seen him this year. He is flat out bringing it. One out here in the 7th to Roberto Sierra from Mexico. And Diaz way inside that time. Believe the count is 2 balls and a strike. Jim Flanagan will have the majority of the action here. And he's got a great one coming up after this one. JDT First Energy versus the Bear Creek Express in a rivalry type game in the winner's bracket. The winner of this game will face the winner of that game tomorrow. On a line, faded into foul territory, and an easy catch for Gonzalez. And now Diaz and the Chiefs are 1 out away. However, it's Pablo Figueiredo who started the 6th with a long solo shot over the fence in right off the starter, Justin Schofield. So good matchup. These two would have faced one another when the United States played the Dominican Republic at the recently completed World Cup in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, Canada. As Figueiredo fouls it off to the third base side. 2 away and a 1-run Chiefs lead. As Diaz on to close it. And what a job he did in the 6th to put them in this position. But still work to be done against Figueiredo. And he's not going away quietly either. If the Chiefs hang on and win, their next game would come your way. Tomorrow at noon. That's the scheduled starting time. With the 2-hour window between games, that can get pushed at times. This game almost 2 hours and 10 minutes old. Diaz looks to end it. On the ground, Bolin gets to it, unable to come up with it. And likely to be scored a hit, I would think. I believe they've scored that in error. Even if Bolin comes up with this ball cleanly, I don't know if he really has a chance to get Figueiredo at first. But now the tying run is at first for Nestor Nova. And Nova homered to left center versus Schofield his last time at bat, but he deals with Diaz. A long way from over. Chiefs hanging on. And Diaz delivers a strike. The low drop, the changeup, his two best pitches, has started to throw the rise ball more often. There is a look at the change. And Matroni does well to keep that ball in front of him. An important block by Bruno to keep Figueiredo at first base. 2 balls and a strike to Nestor Nova. And that most certainly is strike 2. The Chiefs a strike away from moving on in the winner's bracket. And that is strike 3 to end the game. Much to the chagrin of Nestor Nova, who tosses his bat. So the Hill United Chiefs win this one. There will be a matchup between JDT First Energy and Bear Creek, which will determine the Hill United Chiefs lineup. But I should remark that the next game on this particular diamond, and there are 3 being used, would also be a winner's bracket game between the Northeast Drillers and Team Marquez. That is next. Hill United, it was not easy, but they have their first win of the USA Softball Men's Major National Championship over a game Pueblo Bandits team. 4-3 is the final. So long for now from Devon Park in Oklahoma City.